Trump joked to him that if Canada can't survive without ripping off the U.S. to the tune of $100 billion a year, then maybe Canada should become the 51st state and Trudeau could become its governor.
Now, I've been saying that for years. Donald Trump, look, we're going to go through Hamas, Canada, and Japan. Okay? He put out some Truth Social posts, some social media posts addressing all of these nations. What is going on is art of the deal. If you actually think that all of these threats are going to come to fruition, I think you maybe don't understand what it is that Donald Trump is doing. But I do like that he's taking this kind of posture. Have you read the post on Hamas? Have you seen this? Have you guys seen it? It's probably one of the best ever. It's a lot of fun. And really, all of them are going to be responding with, he's crazy enough to do it. There's a value in that. Crazy beats big every time. So Monday, this was the first
Suge Knight of politics.
Yes, exactly. It's like, dangle him from the balcony, ripping off his stuff from Bowie and Queen.
That said, I do think he's a count to three kind of guy.
Yes.
I mean, it's posturing, it's a threat, but he'll act on one or two just to keep him honest.
I don't even think he'll count to three. He'll do what you did when I was a kid. He'll just go, 2!
Just skip one?
Yeah, we would skip. If it was necessary, we'd go to 2 3/4.
No, he never gave me one, my Pops Crowder.
You guys do it in French?
Well, one was him telling you what to do.
Exactly. One was he would say, hey.
Thanks, Tim.
Go clean,
that's a dad right there.
Go clean the dishes. I don't want to. 2? Okay, what happened to 1? It's just abject terror. But it worked. Now.
It does work.
Monday. This is the post on Hamas. We'll go through them, I guess, in sequence of Hamas, Canada, Japan. This was his post. He said, everybody is talking about the hostages who are being held so violently, inhumanely, and against the will of the entire world in the Middle East, but it's all talk, no action. Please let this truth, trademark, serve to represent that if the hostages are not released prior to January 20th, 2025, the date that I proudly assume office as President of the United States, there will be all hell to pay in the Middle East. And for those in charge who perpetrated these atrocities against humanity, those responsible will be hit harder than anybody has been hit in the long and storied history of the United States of America. Release the hostages now! And I bet you Hamas is doing the math, going like, well, hold on, okay, there's Nagasaki, there's, oh shit.
Yeah. Japan's like, you better take them seriously.
Yes, he will make a part of the Federation.
It will do a blockade.
When did I become a reset Muppet? Now, wherever you line up, think about this though. It is good for someone to have at least a very clear mandate. The Democrat Party, a big part of the reason they lost this last election is because remember Kamala Harris ran two sets of ads, one catering to Jews and one catering to anti-Semites. I believe it was in Minnesota. It might have been Pennsylvania. One was for Jews. One was for the pro-Hamas people. Right. They couldn't be united in just, hey, we got to focus on getting the hostages released. Also, I don't really know what the threat honestly is pretty vague because there are not that many targets left to hit. Have you seen what it looks like right now? In Gaza, it's like, I mean, it's gonna look like Superman's dad's bachelor pad at a certain point. So this is what he's saying to Hamas. That's very, very clear. You may not like it. It's a lot clearer than the foreign policy that we have. There's something to be said for clarity. Then Donald Trump laid the flesh hammer down on Justin Trudeau during their meeting yesterday at Mar-a-Lago. Oh, sorry, right clip. But here's the other clip with Mr. Ducey describing the meeting where Donald Trump referred to Canada as potentially the 51st state of America.
And tonight we're getting some new details about that Trump-Trudeau dinner from two people who were at the table. We are told that when Trudeau told President-elect Trump that new tariffs would kill the Canadian economy, Trump joked to him that if Canada can't survive without ripping off the U.S. to the tune of $100 billion a year, then maybe Canada should become the 51st state and Trudeau could become its governor.
Now, I've been saying that for years.
That Trudeau should be governor?
I'm the hipster of 51st state, Canada. It's a useless place. But let me be clear about something here. The theme that you're going to see is unfair trade practices, right? The United States has been, the only reason we've been taken advantage of is because we allow it to happen. We fund the world's security, we fund the world's innovation, and then get screwed in a very one-sided way on the deals that we supposedly made. That's what this posturing is about. Comment below if you understand that. I'm going to get into Canada in a little bit and some of the tricks that they pull. It's not fair. It's not right. And the United States should use its leverage. By the way, the detailed report of the meeting is even better. This is from Fox News. It said that Trump continued telling Trudeau that Prime Minister is a better title, though he could still be governor of the 51st state. Sources told Fox News someone at the table chimed in and advised Trump that Canada would be a very liberal state, which received even more laughter. Trump suggested that Canada could possibly become two states, a conservative and a liberal one. The reason I find that funny is because he didn't just throw it out as a joke and move on. Like, he stuck on the point.
No, and somebody chimed in,
Yeah.
which is great. I want to know who chimed in there
Yeah.
to set the table for him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Someone was like, Canada be very liberal. Well, that's true. I don't like that. Maybe you could be 51st, 52, right? If you have a liberal or conservative one. Either way, I own you. So the reference that he's making, $100 billion, and again, all references available, link in the description, every single show. This is where people say Trump's a liar. He exaggerates. And sometimes you exaggerate when you're coming in, art of the deal, come in really hot, and then be willing to walk away from the table. It's part of the blueprint. He wrote a book to teach you how to negotiate, right? $100 billion here, this comes from Census, is we're actually talking about the U.S.-Canada trade imbalance. So under Donald Trump, the imbalance was about $18 billion. Under Biden, it was $58 billion. Just to be clear. So you saw a change, right, take place. And Donald Trump wants to reverse that. That's not the entire problem, though. It's not really the problem. The unfair trade practices are. So let me give you a couple of examples here. And I say this having been raised in Canada, having dual citizenship. And I don't want to get too wonky, but you may not understand this. Canadian lumber, okay? Now, if we were to just look at the trade agreements, or if we were to look at free trade, hey, great. If they have a better lumber industry in Canada and it's cheaper for Americans, that's good. That's good for you. If it's an equal playing field. The problem is, and I want you to have this as a subtext, none of this takes place if the United States does not fund Canada's security and really the entire world. We'll get to NATO and how useless it is in a second. So in Canada, their lumber industry entirely subsidized, almost entirely subsidized. And then they dump their product in the United States. So what does that mean? That means that in Canada, they can just lower the price artificially. And we saw this too, by the way, this is what happens with single payer, right? You have a government option. Well, the government option is not beholden to a profit. The government option doesn't have to be a viable service as it relates to healthcare. So they just go, oh, wait, what's the average market price? $500 a month? We'll give it to you for $2. And so none of these other companies can compete. And that's what happens in the lumber industry. So Canadian loggers, right, they pay below market rates to basically harvest this stuff off government land. They call it stumpage fees. And so what happens, they dump that in the States. American lumber cannot compete, but it's not happening on an honest playing field. And you know this is true because the Biden administration increased tariffs on Canada, their lumber, by 80%. They did that in 2022. Then they dropped them on the way out in 2024. Went back. Raised them, dropped them. Raised them, dropped them. Big reason for that is probably trying to make housing a little bit more affordable. Something else, too, you see this with Canadian drugs. A lot of Americans will get drugs from Canada because it's a lot cheaper. I understand that. I think that drugs should be cheaper. Donald Trump made some progress with that. But what happens is Canada has government-funded healthcare. So all of the R&D takes place in the United States. It's why you have more MRI machines in the state of Vermont than the entire country of Canada. Canada takes the drugs, subsidizes them, and then sells them back to Americans who paid for them effectively twice through their tax dollars, and then buying them across the border. Let's look at the budgets here, for example. With all of that, the defense. This is what matters most. The United States is the only reason that Canada is allowed to exist. So why should we defend Canada? Why should we be funding Ukraine if they're going to turn around and screw us on our lumber industry? So let's look at our budget, right? Look at the defense budget. United States, $876 billion. Right, the NATO agreement says 2% of your GDP. Canada, $27 billion. That's less than 1.4% of their GDP. Less than 1.4%. Anyone here believe that Canada can protect its own borders? Anyone here believe that Canada wouldn't be standing there with their hand out, demanding the United States go and defend them if something were to happen. But right now, they act arrogantly and tell us, well, you Americans are fascists, whatever, insert whatever they want to here while they use electricity in their light bulbs and watch their Seinfeld and Simpsons and listen to their American music because it's a silly place. The good news is, according to Trudeau, though, Canada will finally hit its NATO spending for the first time since the 1970s really soon.
Canada fully expects to reach NATO's 2% of GDP spending target by 2032.
Oh.
2032? 2032? Think about this for a second. They can't, okay, you can only plan for this in 2032. Okay, hey, how about you cut out socialized healthcare to meet the international agreement that you signed with NATO? Hey, you know what? The next $100 billion going to Ukraine, how about that comes from you? Stop subsidizing with your tax dollars healthcare, drugs, internet, media, CBC, Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, lumber. Just get rid of all of these luxuries that you like to lord over the United States because you're so progressive, and start paying what you already agreed to, I believe in the 1950s, an original member of NATO. You haven't hit 2% of your GDP since 1971. I believe I'm going by rote. If I'm off by 2 years, forgive me. References in the sidebar. We're going to get it done by 2032. Okay, here's my rule. We will not fund any of your defense. If Russia attacks you, they can take you until you start paying immediately. Right now. And we're not buying any of your lumber. Why is the United States allowing themselves to be taken advantage of? Do you realize that Canada is a bigger country than the USA as far as landmass? Canada has 151,000 miles of border.
Wow.
151,000 miles. They spend about $437 per mile protecting their border. The United States, we spend $790,000. Huge portion of that border is us. Hey, why don't we just hop over it and take your stuff, Canada? Can you imagine Genghis Khan putting up with this shit?
No, not a chance. I can't imagine him putting up with anything. Dude, they are arrogant. I had to work with them in Afghanistan. Most of them nice guys.
Right.
All right, most of them nice guys. But they had the police. They were the police on Kandahar Airfield.
Yeah.
And they would give out tickets.
Like speeding tickets?
Yeah, it's speeding tickets. We got to pull over, got a speeding ticket for going 20 miles per hour. Supposed to be kilometers. We were going the wrong speed. They pulled us over, gave us a ticket. We were like, oh, we're Rangers. We don't care. Do whatever you want.
I was going to say, how do they enforce that? Is it like they revoke your license with the community of Kandahar?
I didn't take care of it. They probably contacted our command and told them, hey, your guys are being dicks. And they're probably like, yeah, screw you.
Yeah, whatever. Good luck collecting.
Yeah, get back to the jailhouse on the safe base.
Hey, Rangers, we wrote you a ticket for going 15 over. Yeah, when you guys gonna pay that? No? Okay.
It's like $150. Kind of, important.
What's the exchange rate?
All right, well,
If we say please.
I better get back to the cafeteria. They're serving pancakes and maple syrup today.
That's right. Yeah, in our rations, we get beer.
I'll meet you down at the Tim Hortons.
It's true.
They got Tim Hortons all over that
He's
country.
not
by the way.
joking.
No, they get beer in their rations. Please take us seriously as a country. No. No, we will not. And then I grew up in Canada. They always say, oh, America's this evil empire. Really? Name me an empire who wouldn't take over Canada immediately.
Yeah, the Romans would have taken that
so long ago. Romans, the Turks, the Ottomans, you go, the Mongols. Like what?
Not a person alive would know that their queen was on the money at some point.
Right, exactly. So this is where we are with Canada when Donald Trump is saying, you know what, we're not going to do that anymore. Keep in mind, we fund the defense of the entire world so that places like Germany can give their people free internet because it's a human right. Really? Internet's a human right? Hey, how about ensuring that they don't get genocided again? How about that? Oh, that's right. Okay. The problem is you don't even honor your agreements. It's the most basic agreement. NATO. Everyone benefits from the United States. NATO might as well be called, hey, USA, we want more money. And Donald Trump is saying, we're not doing that anymore. You better start paying your fair share. Remember that? Pay their fair share. Right, socialists?
Where do you begin? Quebec is Western Europe, really, but Canada would be like a liberal American state. So
Yeah.
I think that's a good analogy. Trump says, let him be governor of a state that would be like California, really.
Yeah.
They've lost their way completely.
Yeah, Canada's done. Canada's complete. I mean, they might come back now when you're talking about, what's the name? La Poivre? What's that?
Poilievre.
Poilievre. Yeah. So the pendulum's going to swing back the other way, but
conservatism means something else there. They didn't rebel against a king. They acquiesced. It's a whole different spirit of people, right?
Right.
So I don't know what conservatism really means. Maybe fiscally.
It means they conserve a lot of heat.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it's one of those things people don't understand, like a huge reason for this, that the United States, this will be reductive. The reason that the rest of the world expects the United States to step in and fix whether it's World War II or Ukraine today, it's the same reason that this nation has the Second Amendment. It was founded on guns and political violence, fighting off tyranny. You understand that? That's how we went from under the thumb of tyranny to the world's only superpower the next century. The same thing that these people from other countries complain about is what allowed us to be in the driver's seat when they come begging. Let's be really clear about that. Yep, Canada has the queen on their money. Yep, you look at Japan, which we'll get to. They're largely a people who have been made submissive. You're talking about a history of an empire. The United States is the one that said no, absolutely not in modern history. And you had people, effectively farmers with guns, fight off royalty. Mm-hmm. That's why we can give $100+ billion, pledge it to Ukraine. That's why we can be the international peacekeepers of the world. You may not like it, but it's all part of the same agreement. We just ask that you make it fair. Yeah.
Speaking of international peace, I just seen on CNN breaking news that South Korea president has declared martial law.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can we go to this really quickly before I go to Trump and Japan?
Sure.
This is good Korea.
It's been about an hour.
Right.
Up until this point.
Absolutely. And currently, give us some perspective on all of this. Donald Trump comes into the White House January 20th. He has had a very interesting relationship with the North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un.
Mission Control, can you let me know why martial law is being declared? Again, we kind of live in a vacuum here.
Kind of hoping that
they're looking into it.
Okay.
I love how some of the guys have night vision goggles and some of them just don't. Like one guy has like the decked out like one for each eye.
Yeah.
It's got 4 lenses total, and then some guys are just like, I can't see in the dark.
Yeah, well, one of them is wrong. That's the thing. It's like either you need that or it's entirely inappropriate and you can't see well.
Guy at
It
noon.
was a night vision grab bag, and you thought,
You just stop by a convenience store. You're like, I'm going to sell you swag.
Lane the Brain says it's because of opposition party activities right now.
Opposition party activities.
What would Lane know about South Korea?
Yeah, that's right.
yeah.
He like the ladies.
He is currently live streaming with South Korea right
Yes, he is. Yes. In a tank top.
He corrected me today and said it's Nippon. I said, okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's right. Lane know very much because I used to tweak his nippon.
I gave him a poopo nipple.
Yeah, that's right. Purple nippon.
Ginger man really like.
That's right. Give a nippon twister.
We're just messing with everyone not in studio today.
They can't defend themselves.
I know we're like, no, we're talking about Korea, but we're about to go to Japan. Okay, so forgive me. I know that there's differences in Asia, but the truth is, I don't really care.
Kind of.
Kind of differences.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking Samsung and Suzuki. You know?
No,
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
But it's Nippon.
Nippon. All right,
Sounds
let's
French.
get to the land of the rising Nippon.
Is that Mount Fuji?
Though I do love a good Fuji apple. It is my favorite.
Oh,
it's my
it's a
favorite
good
apple.
apple.
My favorite apple. All you honey crispers, get out the way. Hey, if you're still watching this video, comment below. Sorry, I'm parched. I can't drink from that. But you can click the video and watch it. But what is it a hat?